This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
Has a new report out suggesting that if you look hard enough, deep in the numbers in the budget, that the cuts are far deeper than the government has been letting on, both in terms of dollars, not $5 billion a year, but $10 billion a year, and jobs, not 19.2, but more like 27,000 jobs. Does that suggest to you that maybe MPs haven't been doing their job and reading the budget, or does it suggest that it's just too well hidden?
Terry, you may have missed it. I said in a scrum, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, that when you looked at the cumulative impact of the job cuts, it wasn't simply going to be the 19, it was likely to be closer to 30. Every major head of every major public service union has been making the same point. It's because of the way in which the government accounts for these changes. Some of the cuts that are taking place are specifically in relationship to budget measures. Other cuts that are taking place have to do with internal cuts which departments are having to make in order to catch up with what they were supposed to be doing in the past, or because the government central department felt they were not moving quickly enough.
But it's not all in this budget, is it? Some of it's in the previous two budgets.
Some of it is the cumulative impact of the budgetary changes which were introduced over the last 3 years. And that's why we're looking, in fact, at a much more serious cutback than the one that the government is
surely not suggesting the government would lowball the numbers.
I'm positive the government is lowballing the numbers. The government is, even saying, for example, that the cuts are very modest. In fact, the cuts are far more draconian than that. And if you look at the impact which these cuts are going to have on the services that are being delivered to Canadians, I think people are going to see more and more just what the impact is. You've got to realize, everyone has to understand that this is all part of an agenda to get the government into a position where it's going to be able to reduce even further the role of the federal government in the life of the economy. It explains the further cuts that are coming in federal transfers on health care, the reductions that are taking place. We're seeing a major reduction and change in the role of the federal government in the country in a number of areas like fisheries, like basic services across the country, on the environment, environmental protection, real services to people. These are things that are going to be hurt. People are trying to get their goods to market in a predictable way. And these permits have not been granted, carelessly or willy-nilly. They've been granted because of a learned experience in these industries as to how they work and operate. I think that the government is really barking up a very strange tree when they do this.
Do you think that it's a case that people just don't want to take these jobs, or is it that employers would perhaps prefer to have someone coming in from another country, either because of their willingness to work or because they perhaps have training that some of the Canadian EI?
Well, in many cases, it's a matter of specific training for specific jobs that people, employers feel they need to have these particular people doing this particular work. And basically, this government seems to be saying, no, we'll decide who's going to do the work, and we'll tell people where to work, and we'll take care of that for people. So employers are no longer going to have the freedom as to who to hire. It's going to be dictated to them by the government of Canada. I think the government has got to give their heads a bit of a shake about some of the practical implications of what they're doing.